Stealth Talent Weekly. I'm Phil Ranta, and I'm the CEO of Stealth Talent.
I'm Brian Foster, head of sales here at Stealth Talent. Hello, everybody. How are you?
We're running thin this week because everybody has been so crazy busy with Q4 that even us, we're kind of like, well, we're still going to do this because it's good hygiene for the company, but also, oh my God, I'm buried. I think I'm like 160 emails unread right now. So I think Katarina said that since the SEMA convention, she's been at over 500 or thereabouts at 500.
Exactly.
That's a lot. How are you doing? How are you holding up in Q4?
Also very busy. Yes, have a lot of things up in the air right now. So just trying to keep ahead of everything. I mean, I know I'm probably bugging you a bit to get in front of you too. Oh, here's Connor.
Mhm. Hey,
I'm
Connor.
sure I've been bugging
Hey,
you as you're busy to try to sign off on stuff for me too. So I apologize for the bugginess, but I know we got to kind of stay in front of each other.
Not at all. Yes, I need it. My wife is very well versed in it, being like, "Hey, this is the third time I'm asking for this," and I'm like, "I swear it's in my Asana. I just need to get down to that one, right?" But no, I always appreciate it. And for those who haven't seen Connor's face yet on our Stealth Talent live sessions, Connor is our head of community, and I believe that you're launching somebody today, right?
yeah, no. So we are launching Light on Tuesday. We were
Oh,
planning
got
on
it.
launching him today, but in order to make sure he's feeling buttoned up and comfortable and has everything he wants, we'll get him going on Tuesday. But very excited to start getting some of the Streetlight folks up onto these platforms because I think is we've probably all discussed in these and you guys can wax poetic on like the creator economy is obviously is always evolving, but to really lean into that parasocial environment, I think is something that is underutilized and people don't really think about what it means. And for those that know what it is, that their initial insinuation is OnlyFans or something similar to that. So
Mhm.
it's exciting to expand that kind of knowledge base into other folks.
I love that. And yeah, by way of background, Connor and I have worked together in previous roles. He absolutely crushed it when it comes to paid communities, has worked platform side. And part of the values of Stealth Talent is we also oftentimes find ourselves working with other talent management orgs and other agencies where we're helping to fill in the gaps with some of the value propositions that say they might not want to build internally, but we want to help them with the go to market, with the structuring. And part of that is being able to help them out with things like Snap stories distribution and monetization, and premium platforms like let's say Patreon fanfics passes universe, and as well as like we're starting to really dip our toes. I won't even say dip our toes, but we're going full feet into a lot of affiliate style stuff too. Part of that because that's a big cornerstone of the companies that we're building within Stealth. A lot of them are running affiliate models, but also because it's just so much of where this ecosystem is going. So,
Yep, absolutely.
shall we get to news of the week? The Creator Economy Insiders look at news of the week. So, big one that I want to point out is on that very note, Rainmaker Group officially launched, REIGN, Rainmaker, which I love. Our very good friend who Brian and I worked with in the past, Damian Skajolis, is a big part of that. Also, Jonathan Chianti said that he's assembled the Avengers of the creator economy world, which is a phrase I've been using about companies for the last couple of years, but I won't hold that against him. But I would love to hear thoughts on the model, which it sounds like it is a representation firm that helps independent representatives be better at being independent representatives, which I think is both a wild business proposition, but also I think it's a great one. But I would love to hear thoughts on that.
Sounds kind of like how independent realtors come in and have some infrastructure around their businesses, right? It's a very similar model to that. I think it's strong. It's similar to how we're kind of becoming COOs of our talent as well. This kind of puts them in that operations position and takes some of that, I guess, launch lift off of your shoulders as a new independent going into the market. Yeah, it's interesting.
Well, I think one of the downsides of being independent, right, is you don't have that infrastructure. You don't have an attorney. You don't have a CPA. You don't have the ability to, paper deals, and you can be as good as you want, but if you don't have a JD and you're parsing through a contract and redlining, you're relying on that prior experience to inform a good decision for your client. So I think to have the ability to be flexible and independent, but have the infrastructure to, have that support, I think is, it I think points to this larger trend where we're seeing that, big influencers and digital talent don't necessarily want to go to the CAAs, WMEs, IMGs, right? Like they'll feel swallowed in that environment. So, obviously they want to work with someone who's more independent, but oftentimes I feel as a lot of independent managers don't have the ability to, punch at that weight. So I think that having the ability to build that, kind of protective housing around an independent business, I think is an interesting value proposition for sure.
Yeah,
It looks like
I think
that's
what
only
excites
one-
me.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
But it looks like that's only really one of their four big pillars based on the article. And it's like the
Yeah.
infrastructure part of it, but then there's the influencer marketing part of it.
Yeah.
There the services, brands, etc., and then the Creator Rep Institute, which I think is interesting, the educational arm of it as well. So I think to try to be thought leaders in this as well, they're putting themselves in a great position. This article is really, really great too. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. And this is all on TubeFilter, but which is my front page that's my New York Times of what I read every morning. But yeah, I think that all of that though is kind of part and parcel of this idea of like build inventory, sell inventory, the world that we've been in for a very long time here. But I think that it fills in one of the most important gaps that we've had in digital talent representation for the past 20 years, which is it's very easy to become a digital representation. It's very hard to become a good one. And the lack of mentorship. Oh, and I will toot the horns from the companies that we've been in the past. One thing that the MCN world was really, really good at was training up the next generation of managers. Even when you look at people like CAA and UTA and WME, a lot of them were our junior managers or managers back in the MCN days. It's because they learned by fire. Like we were doing everything at scale. So they had 100-person rosters and we were teaching them how to get through every negotiation quickly and properly and make sure that their clients don't get screwed. And it is like going to do your PhD and going through the ringer and frankly being broke and then finally being unleashed to the world as like this bionic superpower representative. And I see Rainmaker as kind of like, it feels like they're kind of taking on that kind of vibe in the same way.
That incubation type, that grow the next superhuman agent, manager, rep. I agree.
For sure. Well, I'm bullish on it. I'm excited to be working with them. We've been talking to Damien a lot, so I think there's lots of points of inflection that we're going to have with Rainmaker. Like everybody in the space, there are competitors and our friends, and anybody who doesn't look at everybody in that exact framing is naive, or they've got sharp elbows and no one will ever want to work with them. So, but where I'm really excited for us to be friends is helping to fill in the gaps in value propositions that they aren't covering. I think they're going to have a lot of talent that are looking to build companies and the kind of people we're going to want to help put on cap tables for our companies, and that's going to be a good one. I'm excited.
Yep. Agreed.
Another one that's been huge this week is our friends over at Tubi. So since Kudzi, who our dear friend who was formerly at TikTok and now he's running the creator program over there, clearly exceptionally well tied into the creator market. I mean, he was at TikTok. I don't remember if he was there in the Musical.ly days or right after, but like he was there forever. He was there for the ascent and he crushed it for them. They've now announced their new slate of Tubi originals, which I don't want to get this wrong, so I'm going to read it directly off the page. They've got Joey Chris-Sefa on there to finish out with the last season of Escape the Night, which is the YouTube original. It was I liked it. It was a good show.
Right?
I mean,
that's kind of a revival.
It was like one of the original ones.
Yeah, it's like a remaster or the redo here. Yeah.
Totally. And back when it was on YouTube, like the quality season by season went up. I mean, it still was like, because it was kind of like the fake reality show thing, the quality of acting varied wildly depending on what creator they have. But now that Tubi's in the mix, I'm convinced they're going to bring a little bit more of that, like, I think professional sheen in with that.
Where's the
Fingers crossed.
updated? Where's the updated Lonely Girl 150 Lonely Girl series? Yeah,
Totally, yeah. Let's get Greg Gutfield and Miles Beckett back in the world. I think Miles is running his own healthcare startup now, and Greg was running the D'Amelio business. I don't know if he still is, but like, so like they're doing great. But yeah, those were the brainchild behind that. You know. They've also got Rock Squad, who the Family Channel, Kev on Stage is doing one. The One Shoe is doing the Baby Shoe and Friends anthology series. Canigra Dion apparently got a four movie slate. So like they're spending a lot. Dan and Raya, like they announced a ton of stuff, but I would love to hear thoughts in terms of like, let's give creators TV shows and movies. Like what are we thinking?
Well, I mean, it's, I was thinking back to my time at UTA when you brought up the D'Amelios, because they had come in right when I entered into, the agency space.
Yeah.
And it's fascinating that within a 10-year period, we've pivoted from, influencers became, synonymous with replacing traditional celebrity content on social media, and now they're circling back around into legacy media, right? It's the circle.
Sorry, my treadmill fall.
You're good. You're good. It's fascinating because it's like I wouldn't say that the traditional Hollywood star is that of a bygone era, but I would argue that now traditional influencers, right, as we know them, are becoming synonymous with the culture, right? The Brad Pitts of the world, the Leonardo DiCaprio of the world. It's not that they're aging out, but I think that's not the bread and butter anymore, right? I feel like that's getting sunsetted almost into a thing we'll look back on fondly, but I don't know if we're gonna see traditional stars like that anymore that come from their teenage era and having a 30-year-long career. Is that going to happen again? I don't know. I think it's going to be much more influencers that come into movies and films and then kind of extrapolate into different forms of media.
Makes sense. There's so many of them that are so talented. We met with some talented ones this week, that were just kind of blowing our minds. I'm surprised the fellow we met with doesn't have a show going on with Tubi right now. But I think the slate's fun. I think this is interesting. I hope the shows are what the creators want to bring, and they're going to have some passion in what they're making. I hope that's what these are, and not obviously Joey Graceffa. We know that that's already a passion project of his that he's already been part of. But some of these other ones, I hope they're just. We saw that Grace's show didn't go that well back in the day on E. Things just did. I think the Harley and the Food guys, I'm blanking on their names. That show didn't really do that well.
Epic Meal Time, yeah.
didn't really land for me because knowing their content so well. So I'm hoping that it really does, translate back to the original audience, because you don't want to forget about them in this process back and forth between this, I guess, traditional. But even though Tubi is still pretty digital, in my opinion, they're just kind of long form and premium, making it premium. Yeah.
That's what it feels like. I think why I'm more bullish on these than I have been at leaps to digital talent to Hollywood in the past is the leap from YouTube to TV never fully made sense, because YouTube is about the immediacy and video on demand and getting the click. Like, as soon as you have to schedule your time to be able to tune in, it stops making sense. Going from YouTube to Netflix, and that's even hard because you have to pay a subscription and the paywall is there. Going from ad-supported digital platform to ad-supported digital platform,
right.
Especially now that TV viewership is so far up on YouTube, it feels like a much smaller jump, right? Yeah. It's you have to download another app, but it's on your smart TV. A lot of people have Tubi already. Their viewership is good, it's strong. Yeah, totally. And it's the kind of people who watch Tubi are probably the same kind of people who love YouTube, where it's Yeah, I watch Tubi, I watch Pluto TV, I watch all those free ones because they've got
Tubi
great
has
older stuff.
all of the great older horror stuff that I'm such a nerd
Yeah.
for. All the like, there's anime on there that you can find that's not everywhere. Like it's got a great slate. Who's ever doing the programming is killing it, you know. So I think this
Yeah.
is just going to add to that, you know, rich catalog of content they have.
Yeah, and frankly, like the Joey Graceffa Escape the Night thing was always a little tricky because you did have to pay for YouTube, which felt free. Not having to pay, it's the same reason why I think Karate Kid struggled more on on YouTube Red than it did on Netflix, is because a lot of these kids, their parents already had Netflix, so it's like
YouTube Red,
it was free.
That brings back some memories there. YouTube Red.
Oh man, we pitched so much stuff to them, and it was like, really, at the end of the day, you could pitch whatever you wanted as long as you were a star they wanted. We were trying to pitch stars they didn't want, and oh my god, I got beat up. They beat me up pretty good, but no, I'm excited for it. And frankly, like I was able to meet Rich Bloom, who's running the all the business development over there. I got to meet him at Vid Summit along with Kudzi. And I believe them when they say that it's their investment in the creator economy is genuine, and they see that as the way to bridge Gen Z and television viewership in the new form. And it seems like they're hiring the right executives, they're picking up the right projects. So I'm excited to keep working with them in any way that we can grab onto their coattails and hang on.
Yes, Cozy Ivan would love a show. Just throwing that out there.
Yes, out to the universe. Hey, Tubi. Cozy Ivan is awesome, and he is great on camera. So, cool. Well, I also want to highlight. Well, there's one more that we didn't even talk about beforehand that I'm super interested in hearing everybody's point of view on. But I wrote my newsletter on it last week. But there's been a lot of like discussion around it, which is Mr. Beast in the Middle East. Right? He's doing a pop-up theme park in Saudi Arabia. This is very shortly after the Riyadh Comedy Festival, where a lot of creators suffered a lot of backlash from that. But also, nobody's been getting backlash from doing stuff in Dubai, so it's a very different thing. But still, it's the Middle East. He's doing the Billion Follower Summit and announced a huge nonprofit initiative he's doing along with them. I assume it was probably pretty expensive and the Billion Follower Summit is put on by the government of Dubai and Creators HQ, or the government of the UAE. So it's like, it is like two government funded things, but I would love to hear thoughts without touching any third rails of what people think of the UAE or the Middle East play for creators. Without touching third rails.
Yeah, no. I mean, I think there's some people that are like, go get your bag, go get the distribution, go get your viewership, go get the exposure, take all the opportunities you can. I think, and I mean, at some point, we're all going to have to figure out that we're all part of this planet, right? And we should all just probably get along and figure that out. But that's way, you know, I think for a future civilization to figure out. But, you know, I think, you know, some of these creators, I think Beast is doing it. He's an international phenom, so you might as well be international. And if that's who's spending.
Yeah, and to your point, Brent, money obviously talks, and I think that as a lot of countries in the Middle East look to westernize their pop culture and their media, I think it's one thing for us to sit, you know, in the cheap seats and, you know, and be a Monday morning quarterback for decisions for their business, but I think most of us would probably make the same decision if that paycheck came across our
with a kid, with a family. If someone, it's kind of like Live Golf. It's a very similar situation that all the golfers went through, right? Like, are you going to go over there? And they're taking a lot of flack from the folks that's just stayed with the PGA. But, you know, when you're seeing 100 with a comma and a bunch of zeros after it, sometimes that's a big decision maker. And you can't let your family down either, or, you know, your immediate family for that. Maybe a generation is beyond you. Yeah, sorry.
If you're a true believer in the free market, in a global free market, where your worth is determined by what people will pay, and if they can make it profitable, based on their goals. And maybe that just means that their goals are more aligned than your goals there. And as I've seen it, the governments in the Middle East believe in creators more than the American government does. And yes, there's a lot of discussion that can be happening in 100 different ways about culturally and laws in different countries. But what it comes down to is America does not support content creators. They make insurance impossible. They make loans impossible. Cost of living in the cities where a lot of these people are out of control. The cost of goods are out of control. Like, it is very hard to not have a W-2 job in America. And over there, they're offering you a lot of money just to move there, and then infrastructure to create content and shooting spaces. And at a certain point, you have to look at it like, we got to look at ourselves and say, shame on us a little bit. You know,
Right.
Mr. Beast is a creator of the world. He's not just an American creator anymore, and they're willing to pay him and give him the price that he needs in a way that I don't see any American government ponying up for, the same way that they would do a Fortune 500 company.
But maybe, you know, if we're bringing back work to Hollywood and such, maybe get some of these sound stages that are empty or quote unquote empty or have been empty for several months, maybe turn those things and start providing a little bit more space for them. And maybe Hollywood should open their arms a little bit more to this new media, as we once called it, even though it's now just media. But you know what I mean?
It's all the same thing now. Yeah.
And then I think it is all the same now, so we might as well embrace it on both sides.
Phil, I think you brought up an interesting point, which is like that our trust in our institutions to build media, right? So, you know, what comes top of mind for me is the fact that, you know, nobody's really discussing that Larry Ellison is you know, the top dog to purchase the U.S. version of TikTok. Once that deal inevitably goes through, I don't know how the algorithm is going to change, but I think that you know, it's going to be a completely different environment, right? We've seen this continual lack of clarity on the U.S. government's position around TikTok and around, you know, when Red Note came out as a response to the TikTok ban, people joined that en masse in spite of government warnings not to join it. And I think it brings this interesting question of, if we're not going to provide it, and we've continually set creators up in a space where they don't know how to trust us, they're going to go to another country and another government, you know, in spite of what, you know, the naysayers will say, because at the end of the day, they're paying 10x and it's consistent. And I think that at the end of the day is far easier to swallow than, you know, some criticism about their business decisions.
Yeah, especially in the creator economy. The brand of America globally is bad in the creator economy. And some of it, I think, is more deserved than others. Like, a lot of people, the brand of America is bad, for example, on YouTube, because for a long time, YouTube heavily prioritized English-speaking content, and they felt left in the dust. I think that's been greatly changed and fixed in a lot of places, but that was a long time where, like, India was killing it on YouTube, and it seemed like they were not getting any support in the way that America was. And Facebook has always struggled with their brand in America because of what Mark Zuckerberg stands for and does, right? Like, he's got a bad brand. He's front and center in front of Facebook, and so they got a bad brand. The parents joined it too early, so it became cringe. Like, if we were to, like, open it up all the way and just talk about why this stuff happened, some of it's their fault. Some of it's our crazy uncle's fault for deciding that he's going to live on Facebook for the last 8 years and say insane things, and it's embarrassing, right? The brand of TikTok, as TikTok is as a Chinese institution within creators in the creator economy, is very strong.
Yeah.
And it's because they've always had great monetization options for people. Yes, they've banned people early, but so does everybody. And, like, there's still some of those murmurings. When you get hacked, it's hard to recover your channel. But, like, they kept it fun. They kept you discoverable. They were giving you great views. They were always clear with their creators. They'd invite you down to the office. They'd have new, exciting things that they launched instead of just random crap. So taking countries completely out of it, just talking about brand, like United States brand, not great to the content creators, but the brand of China with content creators arguably is stronger. So like when America comes out and says don't go to these Chinese companies, it's like all my brand deals are coming from China. All my favorite platforms coming from China. So I think there's a little work that needs to be done on that side. And what I would have loved to see early on the TikTok ban is a little bit more of an explanation on why, rather than senators on both sides of the aisles looked at the evidence and were like, I'm going to tell you what it is, but trust me, you don't want it. I'm like, this is kind of a big part of all of our lives, especially if you have kids, especially if you are a kid.
Right.
And that's not a sufficient explanation for people who love this app, you know?
Yeah, use it daily.
Totally.
I think I didn't touch any third rails there, right? Am I going to get canceled? Okay, thank God. I'm trying not to get canceled here. We're too early in this company. But yeah, now we've officially gone through the news. I think it's time to double back onto the company. Well, one big win that I can kind of announce, but I can only do it vaguely, is we closed about $500,000 this week in brand deals on Verbals, which for 1 week, for a company that's a couple months in, I'm very excited about that kind of traction. And I don't think that there's a single part of the business that's not kind of seeing the fast vertical rise. Connor, yours included, where community, like, we went through, we kind of formulated it, we chopped it up, we started testing things, and now it feels like we've hit the ground running officially. But
Yeah.
I'm just super excited that the team has been super scrappy the past few months and just jumped in, and now we're finally seeing the payoff of all that.
Feels good. It feels really good.
Yeah,
Kind
sales
of-
cycles are not 1 week in digital; they're months. So we're finally seeing the fruits.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like, yeah, what we're talking about right now is literally net 30 discussions right now. We should have celebrated those a month ago, but now we're actually enjoying them. Yeah, but yeah, totally. No, it feels good. It is really impressive to see everyone kind of jumping in, getting on the text threads that we have, FaceTimes, etc. And Connor, yeah, it's great to have you join our stand up here too. I think this is fun to bring on more folks and get more faces on here.
No, it's interesting, and I was kind of formulating what I wanted to say in this, and I think my larger piece, and Phil knows this from his time at We Are Verified. It's like, I think we're now in. I don't want to get too deep into the economy or where we're at as a country, because that'll take so long, and I don't want to get canceled myself. But look, I think that the larger discussion, as we've seen, is you either do these larger enterprise deals, you do smaller one-off brand deals. But the era of a smaller creator getting six-figure brand deals, I don't think it's over. I think it's a lot harder, not only to get, but to have companies that are consistently paying out on terms that are agreed upon. I mean, someone was discussing a net 90 pay period. I'm like, that's crazy. So, as we
1 cent CPVs.
Yeah, and as we start to get into this economy, I think it behooves us to expand into secondary earning opportunities, whether that's Snapchat, whether that's passes, whether that's fanfics. I think it's no longer the scarlet letter it used to be. I will talk to people now that because I was kind of in the generation that had Snapchat as a communication tool. Now I feel older where I don't necessarily use it for communication, but the younger kids are getting back in on it, right? Like I just even heard a kid that was like, oh, he was talking about Yik Yak, and I was like, oh my God, I remember Yik Yak back.
It's back.
Yeah. So I think, as we start to be scrappy and prove that we have a good value addition for creators, it's not just pushing the fact that it's easy, but that we're trying to not have them be beholden to traditional bread and butter earnings of a creator. So it's very exciting to see you guys build your revenue stream, and for me to come in and kind of inject my time at Playboy and see what I can do to help people be scrappy and earn their bags.
Yeah.
I think it also speaks very well to the ethos behind why we're doing Stealth Talent, which is a lot of people build their careers like celebrities or actors, and I just think that's the wrong framing once you start talking about digital content, right? Digital content is product, and the monetization is ads. And once you've built that product, you have to say, if this is true, what else is true? If it's popular on YouTube, would it do well on Facebook? Okay, it would do well on Facebook. How do you efficiently get it on Facebook in a way that can build audience? All right, we've built audience there. Do we start pitching that for brands, or do we stick on YouTube? Like, where do we want to be scarce and where do we want to be broad? And, I've got a lean in audience with 1,000 true super fans. How do I get that behind a paywall and deliver something special to them? That's when it goes over to Connors. Or I'm ready to start building a company. How do we find the right either company partner or do a ground up company build? Or I want to exit my company someday. How do we make sure that they do an IP expansion exercise? But like, that's how creators have to think, because the brand deals per brand deal keep going down or getting more aggressive. But the creator economy, especially in power, keeps going up. And the only way to term those two things is to figure out, like, all right, if it's going up, but the money's going down, that means we're getting squeezed somewhere. Where are we getting squeezed? Okay, we're getting squeezed by brands who want to pay less for more results. We're getting paid by platforms that take it for granted that creators will just create on it because they want the celebrity. And then how do we use our power as creators to be able to diversify revenue so we're not as dependent, and then grow like in a true startup founder where we say, all right, where's the greatest opportunity that we're going to chase? Okay, we did that, we're optimized. What's the next greatest opportunity we're going to chase? Okay, we're going to do that, and eventually become like this holdco of IP so everyone can be their own Disney.
Hell yeah.
And there's my rant for the day.
Yeah, I love it. The rant.
Always. Well, cool. I know that we're doing a little bit of a shorter session today, but I know everybody's crazy busy. But thank you guys so much for joining. And for everybody out there that's listening, make sure to follow our Stealth Talent social profiles. It's all at Stealth Talent on every platform. We're going to be posting clips from all of these things. And you can make sure to follow us all on LinkedIn, where we're going to be posting stuff too. So, but look forward to hearing you. Thanks for joining.
Thanks, guys.
Bye. Take care. Bye.
Oh.
Oh no, God, I forgot.